James is 70 years old, and like many retirees, he believed that being open with his family was the right thing to do. After all, these were the people he trusted the most. One evening, during a simple conversation, he mentioned how much he had saved for retirement. It didn't feel like a big deal at the time. It felt honest. It felt normal. But that one conversation quietly changed everything. At first, nothing seemed different. Life went on as usual. But over time, small things started to shift. Subtle questions turned into expectations. Requests became more frequent. And slowly, without realizing it, the financial security he had spent decades building started to feel less like protection and more like pressure. And here's the part most retirees never see coming. Once people know what you have, you can't take that information back. It spreads in ways you don't control, sometimes within family, sometimes beyond it. And suddenly decisions that were once yours alone start being influenced by others, directly or indirectly. But it's not just about family dynamics. There's a bigger issue that almost no one talks about. Because sharing financial information can expose you to risks you never planned for. It can make you a target for manipulation, for emotional pressure, and in some cases, even financial exploitation. And the most dangerous part is that it rarely feels like a threat in the beginning. It starts with trust. It starts with a conversation that feels harmless. And by the time you realize what's changed, it's already too late to undo it. Right now, there are thousands of retirees who have unknowingly put themselves in this exact situation simply because they believed honesty would protect them. But in reality, it opened a door they didn't know existed. And that's exactly why this matters today. Because what you choose to share, and who you share it with, can have a lasting impact on your financial future in ways most people never fully understand. Because once that line is crossed, once that information is shared, you're no longer the only person shaping your financial reality. And that's something most retirees don't think about in the moment. When you tell someone how much you have, it feels like you're simply sharing a number. But in reality, you're sharing access. Not direct access to your accounts, but access to how people think about you, how they treat you, and in some cases, what they expect from you. At first, those expectations don't show up in obvious ways. They come in small, almost harmless moments. A casual request for help. A suggestion that you could easily afford something. A conversation that slowly shifts from general talk to specific financial decisions. And because these situations involve people you trust, it becomes harder to recognize where the line should be. This is where emotional pressure begins to replace financial logic. Because when it comes to money, especially within families, decisions are rarely just about numbers. They're about relationships, responsibility, and sometimes even guilt. And once people know what you have, those emotions can start influencing your choices in ways you never intended. You might say yes when you should say no. You might agree to something that doesn't align with your long-term plans. And over time, those small decisions begin to add up. But the issue doesn't stop there. There's another layer that most retirees never consider, and it has nothing to do with family at all. When financial information is shared, it doesn't always stay within the circle you expect. Conversations get repeated, details get passed along. And suddenly people outside your immediate trust circle become aware of your situation. And that's where risk begins to grow. Because not everyone who hears that information has good intentions. Some people see opportunity, some see vulnerability, and others see a chance to influence or take advantage of a situation they were never meant to be part of. And the hardest part is that this doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, quietly, and often without any clear warning signs. Now think about this for a moment. You spent decades building your retirement, saving consistently, making sacrifices, planning for a future where you could finally have control and peace of mind. And yet one simple conversation can slowly shift that balance, not because of a financial mistake, but because of how information changes the behavior of the people around you. This is why so many financial experts emphasize privacy, not secrecy, but control. There's a difference. Privacy means you decide what to share, when to share it, and with whom. It means you maintain control over your financial story, instead of letting it spread in ways you can't manage. And for retirees, that control becomes even more important, because unlike earlier stages of life, there's less time to recover from mistakes. Now, this doesn't mean you can never discuss money with anyone. There are situations where it's necessary. Planning with a spouse, coordinating with a trusted advisor, preparing legal or estate documents. These are all important and valid reasons to share financial details. But the key difference is that these conversations are intentional, structured, and focused on protecting your future, not exposing it. The problem arises when sharing becomes casual, when it happens without thinking through the consequences, when it feels like just another conversation instead of a decision that can have long-term effects. And this is exactly where many retirees find themselves in situations they never expected. They didn't mean to create pressure. They didn't mean to change how others see them. But once that information is out there, it starts shaping interactions in subtle ways. Now here's something else that's important to understand. Financial boundaries are just as important as financial planning. Because without boundaries, even the best financial plan can start to weaken over time. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens through repeated small decisions that feel justified in the moment. Helping once becomes helping again. Saying yes once makes it harder to say no the next time. And before you realise it, your financial position is no longer as stable as it once was. And this is not about being selfish. It's about being responsible. Because your retirement is not just about today. It's about the years ahead. It's about making sure you have the resources you need not just for the next few months, but for the long term. And protecting that requires more than just good investments. It requires awareness of how your decisions, including what you share, can influence your future. So the real question becomes, what should you do instead? The answer is not complicated, but it does require a shift in mindset. Instead of thinking about what feels comfortable to share, start thinking about what is necessary to share. Instead of reacting in the moment, take a step back and consider how that information might be used or interpreted later. And most importantly, remember that you have the right to keep your financial details private, even from people you care about. Because at the end of the day, your financial security is your responsibility. And once information leaves your control, it becomes much harder to protect. This is why the smartest retirees are not the ones who simply save the most or invest the best. They are the ones who understand the importance of control, not just over their money, but over the information surrounding it. They recognize that privacy is not about hiding, it's about protecting. And in a world where information moves faster than ever, that protection matters more than most people realize. So as you think about your own situation, take a moment to reflect on what you've shared, who you've shared it with, and whether those decisions truly support the future you're trying to build. Because once you understand the impact of that choice, you don't just avoid a mistake, you take back control of something that many retirees lose without even noticing.